when you're stuck in high school, and you're stuck in a small town that may be bigoted or racist, you're stuck with a family that may not understand you. These are situations that will change with time, and you will have the ability to make your own choices and to be able to move from where you are to another place. And as you go through your life, you're going to find yourselves, as we have on our little island here, surrounded by people who care about you and who celebrate the fact that you are who you are. And the fact that you're gay or you're different doesn't make any difference.
These are strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, one thing that I experienced in my own life several times when I was a teenager, and also when I was in my early 30s, was despair had become so great that I was very close to suicide. And I don't know, I think we've all felt that in our lives, where it just, at times it almost felt like it was too much, that there wasn't any light at the end of the tunnel, that there was no reason to continue. And now
there was no door there to open.
There was no door.
Except
endurance.
Endurance,
and things change. Things get better. And I can't imagine how my life could be any better than it is right now. It's
Here.
yeah, it's very special. And one of the things that I did personally, after my last serious depression, was I pierced my ear, and I have never taken this earring out. And when things get hard, when things get really tough, I pull on that earring, and it reminds me that I was able to endure, that I had the strength to be able to overcome what was being presented to me. And sometimes talismans are helpful for that. You know, something that is a touchstone for yourself. Nobody else needs to know what it means, but that's a private key that you have to take you to that understanding that you can endure, and it will get better.
It wasn't the same kind of virulent issue in that school among it was an all-boys school among the other guys. It seemed like the other school, those guys were just fixated on picking on fags and fairies and me, and in the other school it just wasn't the same kind of atmosphere. So and that was it got better because I was no longer being terrorized on a daily basis, and I did find some happiness, and then after that it was the 70s, and people were having a lot more fun, and things lightened up, and it was of course at that time when Stonewall happened and gay liberation started to happen, and it was no longer quite as difficult to be openly gay, and in fact people kind of liked coming out and being gay, so it was a liberating time. And so it started to get better then, and just gradually throughout my life finding more strength in myself just by surviving. It all got better.
Even though, in my life, even though I felt alone, that it's that kind of loneliness where no one could ever know that loneliness. I have come to realize that every soul on the planet knows loneliness. It's probably the one thing we all have in common.
I think teens now have a lot more resources for counseling, especially for gay and lesbian counseling. There's a more sympathetic ear towards gay kids in school. So there are some venues and avenues. There's certainly gay community centers and organizations where kids can go, individual people that they may know in community as well.
There's the internet. You know, and when I was a kid, my mother went out to try to get resources, to try to figure out, okay, how do I raise a gay son? And when I was a kid, and certainly when you two were kids, it was, you could be imprisoned for being gay. You were considered there was a psychiatric aberration. You were denied basic human rights, and there was no support network out there at all. My mother was told I'd grow out of it.
They supported those strengths that they saw in me. Those strengths I took on, and because they got some positive strokes for it, I started developing them and giving them away. And then I got a sense of self-esteem from that. So, yeah.
It's amazing you both had parents that, because I didn't.
One.
Or even one.
Even one.
Better than none.
Better than none.
My father was totally distant. My mother was fairly absent emotionally. Oh, sweetie.
You know, for me, there was a whole bunch of songs that were popular when I was a teenager. She's My Girl, Bill. Oh yeah. So there was, there was just a whole bunch of them, and they were just all really bad. And, it was not even the names I was called so much, it was the hatred that was directed towards me. It was the violence that was directed towards me. I don't even know if I remember the names because I didn't want to hold on to them, but it's hard to let go of people trying to, stick a knife in you. That I pretty much let go of as well.
And that's the difficulty, and I think when people get to that point where they don't feel there's anybody there for them, that's what makes them think of turning to suicide. I guess the message is don't do it, don't give up, just find whatever strength you can within yourself to survive and get through it, and find some value and find your own self-esteem.
And one of the messages I'd like to say to anybody who's watching is life presents opportunities for you. You'll find yourself with the opportunity to walk through a door that has presented itself to you. And if you have the courage to walk through that door, it will lead you to possibilities and opportunities that you could only begin to imagine. This is so difficult for all of us to go through and to come to that place where you can just accept the fact that you were born different than other people. And it's okay. It's all right.
It's wonderful.
It is. It is.
Really, if they're listening to this tape, then they have survived this far.
Yes.
So you're already a survivor.
Yeah.
You know, you have survival skills in place. Hang on to them, use them, and eventually life becomes, then you learn skills which are more than survival, which bring you love and joy.
And you can be whatever you want to be. You know, if somebody had said, well, you're gay, you can't be a fireman. You're gay, you can't be in the military. You're gay, you can't be a journeyman carpenter. You're gay, you can't be a commercial scuba diver. You know, you're gay, you can't be a successful glass artist. I would have said, well, sorry. And those are my realities. You know, because that's who I am. I'm all of those things. And I think don't let anybody put any limits on who you are. You know, I mean, maybe you're destined for Broadway. Maybe you're destined to be a fashion designer. Maybe you want to be a fireman or a policeman. Maybe you want to be a carpenter. You can be whatever you want to be. Don't let anybody stop you. It gets better.
And in our community, because we live on an island, we have an extended family of about 1,000.
Yes. Yeah.
And everybody is friendly.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And we chose that. We chose to be here and be part of that family, that community. And it's a special place, and you have that choice too. You will find yourself with the opportunities and the possibilities to change your environment, to change your home, to make choices for yourself, and find a place where people love you.
But first, love yourself.
Yep. You've got to love yourself. You've got, as David said, you've got to see the value in yourself. You've got to get to that place where you do love yourself.
And you know, it's surprising how other people see it. You know, when I finally realized something unique about myself that is present in every situation that I'm in, and I mentioned it to my mother, and she said, "Oh, we've always known that." You know, couldn't you have told me?
It gets better.
So if you are being bullied because you are gay, you are in really great company. And I have a list here, and in no particular order. There's Alexander the Great, Richard the Lionhearted, Aristotle, Benjamin Britten, Cole Porter, Greg Louganis, Olympic diver, Leonard Bernstein, of course Freddie Mercury, Andy Warhol, Jean Cocteau, Walt Whitman, Montgomery Clift, Jim Barrie, who wrote Peter Pan, Elton John, Jules Verne, Caravaggio, famous Renaissance painter, Tennessee Williams, Igor Stravinsky, Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Thornton Wilder, Edward Albee, George Cukor, James Dean, Botticelli, Oscar Wilde, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, E.M. Forster, Noel Coward, Rudolf Nureyev, just to name a few. So,
Good company.
Great company. And the three of us.
yeah.
And it gets better.
Thank you.
The world is a better place because we're here.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
That was great.